Welcome back in the studio. Now we have somebody. You know, like I said when we were introducing the show, it is inevitable not to have a very loud sound in social gatherings, such as parties, clubs, and even when we go to our religious houses. For this kind of noise, even though they are desired, could it have effects on us? Then the major fear or damage that can be done to ear, apart from pains, we also know, we have been told, is the loss of hearing ability. And that is why this morning we are looking at the relationship between noise, especially social noise, and hearing loss. We have the medical practitioner in the studio with us, but before we unveil our watch our profile frame. Wow, intimidating profile we have there. She is an otolaryngologist. Did I get that?
No.
Oh my God. In fact, let me just tell you, she's an ENT, that's the ear, nose, throat, neck surgeon. In the studio with us this morning, Dr. ADEBAYO ADEFOLASEYE ADEBOMI, a fellow at the Medical College of the Otolaryngologists. Oh, yeah, pronounce it now.
Otorhinolaryngology. Don't worry.
I did that rehearsal like. But then she gave me the solace to say that even those in the profession, they cannot pronounce it. So which one is my own? Yeah, you're welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for defying the rain and the weather, the traffic and everything. Thank you so much. First, we're talking about, you know, social noise here. And when we talk about social noise, we talk about noise that comes from artificial things like our generators. When we go to parties, when we are in the car, at times we just feel like we are stressed out and want to put the music on the loudest. I do that at times. I know I do that at times when I'm feeling sleepy. I just want to keep myself awake and I make all the noise and all of that. Now, in simple terms, tell us, how does sound or noise affect our hearing?
Thank you. Ideally, for you to hear, somebody has to speak, and there has to be a transmission of sound that will get to the ear. The outer ear goes to the middle ear, the inner ear, then the signal is sent to the brain. The brain sends it back, and the person responds. Now, a crude way of assessing noise, if you have to talk above your regular tone, for somebody that is as close as 3 meters, then that sound is too high. That means there is noise. It becomes noise. That's just a crude way of assessing it. However, for noise to affect the ears, it could be the intensity of the noise or the duration of exposure to such loud noise. So short loud noise can cause immediate damage.
Just like that?
Yes, permanent. But The one that is not so loud, but the duration is long, prolonged, maybe more than 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day for a period, will cause hearing loss, gradual hearing loss. Now, you know, as I just talked about how we hear sound, there's what we call the inner ear cells. Now, the thing about this noise and hearing loss is that the good thing is that hearing loss caused by noise can be preventable. It's a preventable cause of hearing loss, noise induced. It's preventable. So people need to know that if there are some things we can avoid, such that we don't have hearing loss, because it has its effects on people's lives. It can cause depression, loss of self-worth, irritability. You can imagine somebody is talking, somebody hears some, does not hear some, even people's jobs. So but it's preventable. So that is why I would have said, okay, this is a good thing to discuss. So it's a preventable cause of hearing loss. So
now you talk about the noise, the duration, and everything.
Yes,
but we realize that some professionals, they have advised that it is better not to place our phones directly on the ear. Instead, they have advised us we use devices like the earpiece, like the AirPods, and all of that. And you realize that at times we go on in a conversation for hours, and we have this thing. At times now, with the new era we find ourselves in, we have meetings that will last 4, 5, 6 hours, and we have all of these gadgets glued there, both ears. Now, my question is, can these accessories or use of these accessories lead to hearing loss?
Thank you for that question. Actually, people don't know how to use these devices. In all these devices, the smartphone, maybe TV, all different gadgets. Let's use the phones, for example. On every phone, there is the maximum sound that is compatible for that particular person, for the hearing, normal hearing threshold. That's why if you or people observe, when somebody uses the earpiece and start increasing the volume, it begins to show maybe green, then it changes to yellow, then it changes to red. At that point, when it's changing to yellow, it's like this sound is too much for your ears. So once you get to that point, you stop. So it's not just about even using the earpiece. Even using the earpiece, the sound must be regulated, and it should not be increased beyond such
the stipulated volume.
Yes. So that is why it's not, even if somebody is on prolonged meetings and does not exceed those device volume, the person can still do the meeting. The problem is when the volume is exposed beyond a certain decibels.
Okay, let me ask you this, because it's something that I personally do experience. Would you say that one is beginning to have issues with hearing, in the sense that at times you are with your phone and you actually get the maximum stipulated volume, but you feel you're still not hearing, because like my earbud will tell me, if you increase beyond this, you could have issues with your hearing and all of that. So my question now is that, am I beginning to have issues with because even at that point I cannot hear, and the essence of it is for me to hear. So I had to just increase it to the maximum. Does it mean that gradually something is getting wrong somewhere?
That is why,
because that's a common thing with almost everybody.
Yes, that's why we are talking about it's most of the time. Most people, apart from some professions, experience chronic, it's a gradual loss from not only their devices. Maybe let's say somebody goes to an what&where party now, and there is no sound engineer to regulate the sound, and somebody sits close to the speakers. That day, the person spends like 6 hours in the what&where. Everybody is eating, shouting. Is exposed for like 6 to 8 hours. it leaves that place. There's what we call, in hearing loss, we have what we call a temporary threshold of hearing loss and a permanent. Temporary threshold means that once the person leaves that environment, they will just notice he cannot hear, maybe for some minutes, or they will hear noise in the ear. Then for like 24 hours before the person gets back, that's temporary hearing loss. The ear has time to recover. Now, chronic exposure, maybe not just at Owambe. After Owambe, the person goes to the church on Sunday.
And we are
the
shouting.
Noise, we are shouting. If your voice is not louder than my own, you are not praying.
Oh my
you
God.
You leave that one. Then on Friday, you say, oh, let's go to the nightclub.
Oh my God.
Just put the noise meter in the club. You will see the sound is over 90 decibels. Somebody is exposed like that. So over time, the person begins to notice that he's not hearing what the normal sound threshold. So it's a gradual hearing loss. So as someone grows older, he starts noticing that even the normal sound that everybody hears, he or she cannot hear at that point. So the damage is being done gradually. So such a person should see the
Okay, for instance, we are talking about Owambe, we are talking about church, we are talking about clubs. For those that are working, that's where they work, for instance, maybe the factory is permanently, and with this, maybe with the, I don't know if I should say Nigeria, or the case of the company, they can't provide PPE, for them. What effect? Because like they go every day, 8 hours every day, they are in the factory, they are working. What effects, or to what extent would the hearing loss affect them?
Ideally, all such occupations, they have guidelines. These are occupations that one of the hazards that can happen is the hearing loss. So there are supposed to be guidelines, health guidelines, that should be monitored ideally in all these organizations, whether it's being monitored or it's another thing. So in such organization, ideally there should be a pre-employment hearing assessment. Okay, before somebody starts this job, this is your hearing threshold. Then once the person is exposed to such jobs, they should provide things like, one, because these people are permanently exposed, they should provide ear muffs, ear plugs in all these occupations. Or sometimes it's provided, but you will see that some of these people will not use it. So ideally it's supposed to be provided, and the workers, they should be given orientation how to use them, to fix it appropriately, so the sound entry into the ear is reduced. So in such occupations, these people should use these ear protective devices. So it is when it is not provided or it's not being used that these damages occur. And even in such occupations, they should have like yearly hearing assessment, such that because some people have pre-existing conditions that can damage their ears. Yes. So during those periods in which they are frequently reassessed, if they notice some form of hearing loss, the person can be rehabilitated to another part of the job. So whether it's being monitored is another thing, whether the regulations or guidelines are being followed. But ideally, in all such occupations, they should have protective devices. In fact, in some organizations, there are noise meters. Noise meters can even be downloaded on the phone. It can be downloaded on the phone wherever you are. You check the noise background. I followed one of my friends to a club, to do her birthday. So I did not know that it's been a while. So I just entered the place. The noise alone, I just put on my meter on my phone. It was reading 95 decibels, and every person was comfortable there. I said, how do you, and at that time, even if you are even talking, you will be shouting. And these people are exposed to these sounds every Friday. They call it enjoyment. They'll do from 10 to 5 a.m. That damage will be done.
I know as a person that something is wrong with my hearing.
Yes, such a person can know. Take, for example, the volume of the television set. You know where you put it, and the person can hear. The person cannot hear. you before the onset of this problem, probably when the person puts his phone close to his ear, he hears.
Okay.
Now people are talking.
Okay.
He cannot hear them. He increases it. He says, speak louder. Those people are speaking louder. He still cannot hear. He goes to put on the radio. He notices the sounds, he hears it, he cannot hear it at that point. That person is now aware. Because he will have a self-awareness that something is wrong with the hearing. But it's only after he has seen the professional that he can know the degree of damage.
Thank you very, very much. Honestly, it's been so educating. A lot of things we just take for granted. You know, you brought it to the limelight. Finally, in 10 seconds, what would you advise as a professional in this field? And this is something that we take for granted. We do not even take cognizance of. What would you tell our viewers this morning?
I want to like the Nigerian public to be careful for their hearing health. Because once it is lost, it is lost. As much as a lot of things can be prevented, they say prevention is better than cure. Most people should have a noise meter on their phones. When you have a noise meter, you may have maybe a hearing muffle or around maybe in their bag. If someone finds his or herself in a place of loud noise that you cannot live, just put your earmuffs in the ear. Then advise all these companies where there's loud noise, construction companies. The workers there should know that these ear muffs and ear devices, protective devices, they are not for decoration. They should use them. Then the government, if the government can come up with policies that in every public space there should be a noise meter. And there should be that manages this noise. Fine, we know that this noise meter cannot be in every space, but there should be regular health education on protecting the hearing.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We have had in the studio this morning Dr. ADEBAYO ADEFOLASEYE ADEBOMI. She is the ear, nose, and throat surgeon. Thank you so much for educating us this morning.
You're welcome.
Yes, it is Salah. We cannot but tell you